Yep.
So Caitlin Clark of Iowa, but now playing for Indiana in the WNBA, gets honored in time as the athlete of the year. I don't know. I guess they need a lot of covers or something. I mean, whatever. They just want people who are going to sell their shitty magazine. So she gets selected as athlete of the year. And what does Caitlin Clark do? Like this woman who's a superstar. She's the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. And she's become a phenom in part because the players of the WNBA can't fucking stand her. Why? Mm-hmm. Because she's white. It's abject, absolute racism. It's total racism.
All right, so I'm not going to lie. I saw this one coming from a mile away. A few months ago, Caitlin Clark gave an interview where the interviewers were asking her questions. It was a post-game interview. And one of the reporters asked her a question. She answered the question and she went off into some sort of a some sort of a rant about how the WNBA and the NBA have some kind of not a rant, but just like a tangent, I guess. How they have like a pay gap between the women's league and the men's league. But I mean, it's kind of more people watch the NBA versus the WNBA. I don't know nobody that watches the WNBA. To be honest, nobody. Anyway, I don't understand how these players think. Like, do they know how the leagues make money? Like, the more attention and eyeballs a league has, the more money it's going to generate. And if people don't watch the WNBA as much as they watch the NBA, you're not going to make much money. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the NBA subsidizes the why do I keep saying WW? The WNBA. And they still get paid really well. So I really don't know why they complain so much about the pay gap. They're literally subsidizing your league and you're still making a decent payday. So over the past few years or decade, I'm not sure, the WNBA, here I go again, WWW. The WNBA hasn't really been surviving. They've been subsidized by the NBA every year just to survive. So, I mean, it doesn't mean much to say that the WNBA was, built on the backs of, what did she say, black women, or built on the backs of women? It doesn't really mean much because you're getting subsidized by the NBA, like, because the league doesn't make enough money to stay afloat by itself. And now that Caitlin Clark, I kind of see her as like the Steph Curry of the league. She's pretty good. She's like knocking down threes from half court and everything. She's pretty good. But I mean, her coming out and saying something like that, and I heard that she lost like thousands of followers. I mean, that could actually hurt the league, like money wise, fan wise, eyeballs wise. Like, that's not good. I mean, I don't know if she could destroy her career, but I mean, it certainly doesn't help her career, and it doesn't help the rest of the WNBA for her to be saying things like that. Because if people end up, just not liking her and she starts becoming more of a lefty, I don't see it turning out looking real good. That means less money for the rest of the people in the WNBA also. So I don't think that's a really good idea for her to be doing that.
So she gets this honor, and all she has to do is continue staying above it. Thank you. I'm grateful. Love being in the WNBA, and I love my colleagues who I play with, my teammates. That's it. Instead, she decides to go racial. And what she says is she feels the need to acknowledge her white privilege. Basically, she's sorry she's white. She feels really bad about it, though, so you should give her a pass. And then she makes a point of saying the ones we really need to be celebrating are the black women on whose backs this league was built, which I have to tell you is so condescending.
It really
It's
is.
true that most of these black women have been bullying her and want her to understand it's their league. Hello, you don't own the league. Blacks don't own the league, just like whites don't own tennis or golf. Nobody owns the league. This is America. Anybody can play if they're good enough. but they want her on the knee. You'll bend the knee and you'll apologize for being white, and you will suck up to the black women who built this league before you, or you will be beaten. You will be assaulted and you will be bullied with no friends. So she does it. She finally did it. She bent the knee, self-flagellated over white privilege. And look at the black women in this league. And I have to tell you, if I were a black woman in that league, I think I'd say, screw you. Because don't treat me like I am the ugly stepsister and you are Cinderella, and no prince is going to look at me unless Cinderella says, oh, give her a little time. Oh, put her in the spotlight for a moment. I would be offended, genuinely offended by her. Like, look over there. Look at them. They're not white. They did a lot too. And here's the other thing. It's totally insincere. And here's how you know it's totally insincere. Because if Caitlin Clark really felt uncomfortable in the spotlight as the newbie who's white, because white people didn't build the league, she wouldn't have said yes to being Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. So either walk the walk or don't. But what you're doing here is trying to have it both ways. You're too cute by half, and you've managed to piss off your fan base. Go ahead and look at my Twitter feed and the comments under my tweet on this. She's lost thousands of fans, maybe more, as a result of this. And you will never appease the race bullies in the WNBA, ever, because you're too popular, you're too talented, and too white. That's it.
These players like aren't smart. It's like they're just not smart. They're not smart enough to realize that more eyeballs watching her means more money for the league in general. But I think more of this kind of talk coming from WNBA players, like, it's gonna be dead. Like, it's gonna be dead. It's already dead. It's gonna be even deader.
Yeah, your announcement for Athlete of the Year, like, tremendous, incredible positive feedback. That's what we've seen across the board. There's always going to be some negativity, and I feel like you have had to answer more questions than anybody about the intersectionality of race and gender and sexuality in sport, because of just who you are, and you represent the growth of this thing. And even earlier today, Megyn Kelly, she was saying that you were apologizing for your white privilege and the fact that you wanted to uplift Black female athletes and make sure that they were getting the shine, kind of like your pioneers were getting the shine that they deserved. And I just want to know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit, but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I feel like I always have had really good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad. And then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career. But also, I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there's been so many amazing Black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, like, I try to just be real and authentic and, share my truth. And I think that's very easy for me. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And that's kind of been how it is my entire life.
Yes.
Yeah, so after listening to what she was saying, it seemed like she's trying to ride the line in between. She's trying to say she has white privilege, and then she's trying to say, oh, I think I earned everything I've gotten in my life. But then, it seems like she's trying to not piss off anybody. But I mean, like I said before, she's already lost thousands of followers. And I think she's probably maybe a little bit tone deaf when it comes to at least part of her fan base. I don't know what happened behind the scenes to make her, say stuff like this. But honestly, if I was her, I think I would just shut up about politics and just play basketball. Honestly, that's what I would do if I was her. I don't know why she feels like she needs to dip her toe in politics and start saying some shit that she doesn't know. Like, just stop. I think that's a pretty quick way of tanking your career. Don't turn into Colin Kaepernick. That dude left the league, made a documentary, and tried to come back to the league. He left the league claiming there was racism or some bullshit, and then he made a Netflix documentary about the league, how it was racist. And then he tried to rejoin the league. Literally the most unreasonable person ever. So I think Caitlin Clark is just young. She's like 22. She doesn't really have much life experience yet. I mean, she's from Iowa. Ain't no black people in Iowa. What is there a big city in Iowa? I think Des Moines, and Des Moines is like 200,000 people. There's nobody there. It's literally nobody there. Nobody. This is the first time she's been around this many black people at one time, and then on top of that, they're all black lesbians. That's probably a shock. Probably a shock to her, but she probably doesn't really know that much about politics. I mean, she's a basketball player. She's probably just focused on basketball her entire life. So I can't really blame her. We'll see what happens. She's only 22. Just give it some time. Just give it some time. The racism will grow. The dark force will grow in her.